Hey folks, thanks for tuning into Long Island Wargaming, and this is going to be a 3,000 point game of Ogres versus Dwarves, and it's against Dave. Dave got his hands on a Dwarf army off of eBay, I believe, and he's going to test it out today. So let's get on into it. So we decided to go 8 feet long this game. You can see we end up on the far side of the board, but you know what? We decided to see what would happen. Dave actually has 2 kids that were checking out the game and watched with us, and they helped set up some of the terrain. And we got some young blood, so he's going to do some practice games with them, and hopefully we get some more players going regularly. So here is the terrain. It's all mixed up, and we have, for the ogre side, I'll go through my list. I have a Slaughtermaster, and he's armed with Iron Fist and Armor of Destiny. He's taking more magic. Then I have a Tyrant with Talisman of Preservation, Iron Curse Icon, Charmed Shield, and that's it, really. And then I believe he's also got an extra hand weapon, so he's going with extra attack. I also sprung for the heavy armor with him. The Bruiser, I have my BSB Bruiser. He's got a great weapon, and that's it really. I also have level 1 Fire Belly for good taste, and he's got a great weapon, and that's it. He's also got the Dispel Scroll, and he's a level 1 Wizard. For the rest of my army, I've got a unit of Iron Guts, a unit of Ogres. I went with a Gorger for fun. 4 Lead Belchers, 3 Man Eaters with Swift Stride and Scout, 4 Mournfang, 2 Saber Tusks, 2 Iron Blasters, and then I took a Stone Horn for fun. So you can see that I've got some fun choices in here, and we'll see how they go. And I apologize about the fact that I didn't really get a good close-up photo, but you'll see as the battle pans out. I got Fireball for my Fire Belly, and then for my more magic, I got Spine Marrow, Bull Gorger, Toothcracker, and Troll Guts. So for the Dwarves, we've got a Cannon chilling in the Watchtower, a unit of Thunderers, some Hammerers. They've got Vanguard. In the Hammerer unit is the Lord, and he's got all sorts of fun runes. And we've got a unit of Warriors. And next is a unit of Longbeards with hand weapon shield. The warriors to the left have great weapons. Then we have got 2 organ guns with runes on them, some accuracy, the +1 to hit, and then I forget what the other ones were. Unit of thunderers again, a cannon, and then in the back is a stone thrower. So we have a fun infantry-heavy dwarf list. So I'm looking forward to playing it because it's a little bit different. And Dave is a newer player, so he makes a couple mistakes here and there, and I exploit those, but his cannon that's all the way over here to the right, I put my scouting man-eaters down with Swift Stride, so I'll be able to take out that pretty quickly if I decide to go after that. And after scouts, we have a quick vanguard, so these hammerers go around the impassable terrain, and they're getting close. I don't like when hammers get close. So here's a better shot of the battlefield. The Stonehorn is right there. To my left flank, the Iron Blaster behind. Big unit of Iron Guts with the heroes in it, then the unit of Bulls with the Fire Belly. The 4 Lead Belchers are going to pop into the building first turn. And then all the way out to the right there, I've got some Mournfang, which are going to sweep around, or so I think. They are outside of the leadership bubble and BSB, so I got to be careful with that throughout the game. And the Gorger on the back is going to come in as an ambusher. And here's just another angle from the Dwarven perspective, just for fun. This is a just for fun game. I'm sorry, I used the word fun too much here. So, and we're off. The dwarves get turn 1. Stone Thrower goes ahead and kills an Iron Gut right off the bat and deals 2 wounds to another. And the Organ Gun goes ahead and drops that one and does a few more. The cannon that's hiding in the watchtower across the board is actually in the Mournfang flank, and that is abused heavily. He goes ahead and only kills 1, which is nice. However, 1 is a quarter, so 25%. I take my panic test, leadership 7, outside of leadership bubble and BSB, I fail it. So these guys actually turn around and run, and at this point I feel like that cost me the game. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bounce back from that because when my Mournfang, which I know are going to get shot up, are just already running before I even get to go, no good. I was kind of hoping they'd sweep around and flank everything. So we go on into Ogre turn 1. The Lead Belchers enter the building, and my heroes go ahead and desert the Iron Guts because at this point, there's like none left. So I've got a hero bus of Bulls running up the right flank there, which is interesting. And the Saber Tusk runs around. The Stonehorn moves out of the frame, actually. He goes to the left a little bit. This way he can kind of flank the hammers. I mean, he's in good shape because he hasn't taken any shots yet, and any of the cannon shots that he does take is rounded down. For anyone that doesn't know that, it's halved, which is great, so he'll survive a few turns of cannon fodder, cannon shots. But over here we have the man-eaters making a crazy charge against the side of these Thunderers. I figured this was a better charge than attacking the cannon. And, the cannon's scary against the ogres, but you know what? If I can kill this, overrun into the organ gun this turn, in his turn, kill the organ gun, overrun to the next thing. There's an engineer hanging out in that organ gun, by the way. And then the saber tusk can go attack the cannon over there. On this side of the battlefield, we have the Iron Blaster chilling out behind the fence, and you could see that the Saber Tusk moved up so that the Hammerers, in order to move or do anything, have to charge the flank there, or charge the front of the Saber Tusk, and either overrun in a direction that I wouldn't mind, or just combat reform. He could also combat reform right here and just move, but he would go in a direction that is either back towards his table edge or towards his other stuff, or towards the Iron Blaster. So if they go any other direction, I would be happy with that. And here's a shot of the battlefield as a whole. So you can see the bills are moving up pretty quickly. I didn't move the Iron Guts because I didn't want them to get charged with the hammers. The unit has the banner that does the breath weapon and they always strike last bullshit. I just didn't want to give them too many opportunities to charge that unit and just destroy them. So I guess I'll hide them in the forest. It'll be -1 to hit for the organ guns. It might be a little bit lame, but at least if I could sweep around with the bulls and let them do the hard work, that would be great. In Magic, I go ahead and get Bull Gorger and Spy Marrow off, so this is a formidable unit, so hopefully, he charges them, because I would do great in combat. I would lose the impact hits, but I would do decent combat. So it kind of deters him from charging me, so we'll see. Both of my Iron Blasters do really shitty. I do 1 wound here to this cannon, and then only 1 wound to the cannon here in the Watchtower. In combat, I go ahead and crush these Thunderers, and I will go ahead and overrun into the organ gun. So over here, we decide to swift reform the dwarves, the hammers in Dave's movement phase. If it was me, I would have just attacked the saber tusk and just got rid of him. But it's risky because now he kind of opens up his flank and his rear to the Stonehorn, which is off screen at this point because he's hiding on the table edge. But it should be interesting. And Dave's does some interesting movement too as he swift reforms all 3 block infantries to go around to attack the bulls. So I'll be dealing with these dwarves in waves. So the organ gun kind of gets in the way, so we'll see where he's going to move in what direction. Stone Thrower drops 2 more bulls. 1 more dies from the organ gun. And one of the cannons does a wound to the Iron Blaster. Or 2 wounds to the Iron Blaster. The second cannon did not fire at the Iron Blaster because we looked up the rules. The cannon wouldn't have actually hit him because it would have hit the fence, which is an obstacle, destroyed the fence, and then stopped, which is pretty good placement on my behalf. One of those rules that you really don't see often unless you use fun terrain and obstacles like this, but hey, that prevented another cannon shot from potentially killing the Iron Blaster. In his combat phase, I go ahead and kill the organ gun and the attached engineer. I do not overrun because overrunning would not have gotten me into contact with anything. Unless I rolled a 12, I would have hit another war machine, but it wasn't worth the risk of having them go too far and not be able to charge this unit in the flank. Here's a shot of Ogre turn 2. The Saber Tusk goes ahead and gets into the way of the hammers again, and the bulls go ahead and make a charge into the Longbeards over there. Or so we think. So we resolve this charge, and I get in real easy, but then we forget to apply the Rune of Slowness. And the bulls, he rolled 6 for Rune of Slowness, and I rolled very shitty. And I was about like 9 inches away, and with my roll being adjusted with the -6, I actually false charged, which really sucks. So retroactively, we move the unit back so that they false charge, essentially, and the man-eaters go in solo, which is not good. I'm not really happy about that. The Iron Guts do move up to kind of get into the battle, I guess. The Saber Tusk false charges, but next turn he'll be in for sure. And in Magic, it looks like the only spell I'm able to get off is Troll Guts. He does have Spell Eater runes to use, but he's saving them, so he figures, hey, if I throw 5 dice, I could probably beat his 3. Dave rolls 4 1s and a 2, and I get off Troll Guts, no problem. And that's on the Bull unit because I want to keep them as strong as possible. One of the Iron Blasters finishes off the cannon in the Watchtower, and the other Iron Blaster kills this organ gun, which seems like a good thing, but it actually opens up the man-eaters to a flank charge, which in hindsight might have not been the best thing. I mean, you could scoop up points wherever you can get points, especially when it's an organ gun, you can get that out of the field, but honestly, it should have been shooting at something else to keep the organ gun from preventing these warriors with great weapons charging the man-eater flank. Alright, into Dwarf turn 3. It looks like the Hammers finally decide, hey, let's get rid of the stupid Saber Tusk he's getting in the way. So they go ahead and do that. And the Warriors, as predicted and foreshadowed, will flank charge those Man-Eaters. Whatever shooting can still do some damage does, and 2 Bulls drop from here. So I'm down to 4 heroes and like a handful of Bulls. So with no magic, some infantry, and most of the shooting gone, it bounces right back to Ogre turn. So the Dwarves' turn is pretty quick. This game is a huge tease. I mean, I lost my Morn Fang early. I'm like, I don't have a chance. And then I finally have a chance to bounce back, and then I false charge with that freaking Rune of Slowness. So now I'm all inning. I'm going to do a charge with the um, Iron Guts and the Bulls with the heroes. Rune of Slowness again. I rolled not that great, but it was at the point where like my movement ended up being where my charge was like a 0, or it went into the negative. That's even possible. So both of those units false charge, which is crazy. I mean, if the Iron Gods went in alone, they would have been screwed, so I'm kind of glad they false charge after the Bulls false charge, but I just want to get into combat. Please, let me get into freaking combat. The combat I do get into is the flank of the Hammers after killing the Saber Tusk. They combat reform to face this way, which exposed the flank, and I think that would be great, but honestly, Stonehorn is more of a support unit. I mean, he's going to get a handful of impact hits, but hammers with 2 attacks each, it's just not going to be pretty. This Saber Tusk finally comes in, so I've got 2 Dwarves here to attack. Not sure where the Longbeards are going to be going. I end up making these guys super defensive again, +1 toughness and Troll Guts with regen, so hopefully he charges them, and if he tries to shoot them, I can try to keep them alive a bit longer, but man, I gotta get them into combat, jeez. One of the Iron Blasters goes ahead and gets this Stone Thrower down to 1 guy. Oh, and my ambusher finally pops up, so the Gorger's coming in from behind. He makes a move up to the back of the Thunderers, and hopefully he can smash into them and kill them and scoop up some victory points. So over here I end up doing a handful of wounds. The impact hits did alright, the Thunderstomp did shitty, I'm pretty sure I rolled a 1. So there was a lot of potential here with the Stonehorn, but not too much was beneficial for me. So he ends up turning around, and now he's going to get even more attacks at me. So, yeah, at least I can keep the hammers tied up for a little while, and I can kill a bunch, so, yeah. So, back to Dwarf turn. This is Dwarf turn 4, and he goes ahead and makes a charge into the Bulls. After charging the Iron Guts, and I declined the charge, I actually turn around and flee, and we had to weigh out our options here, because Dave, being a newer player, didn't know what to do, whether he was trying to chase down the fleeing unit or take a leadership test to redirect and to charge these guys. So back and forth, we ended up going with this scenario. So he ends up redirecting into these guys, and we'll see how it goes. They still have regen and +1 toughness. So, but with the dwarves, you want to get the charge. I mean, that +1 strength is pretty stellar. So strength 5, he should be doing all right. So here's a shot of the battlefield. The Iron Guts are running away, the Hammers are fighting, the Dwarf Warriors are just kind of getting themselves into position for a second wave of attacks. So Dwarven Infantry are just scary as hell, so I'm not sure how I'm going to take care of them, but this is also my first time really experiencing the Ogre Death Star with all the characters in there, and so far I've seen it's pretty cheesy. The Hammers to the left are, still facing, they're trying to finish off the Iron Blaster that's hiding behind the fence. They've been actually very successful this game. They end up doing a handful of wounds with the handguns, which is crazy because it's like 5s and 6s to hit with the fence, and then it's like 6s to wound. But between the handgunners and I believe Actually, the handgun is the only thing that can really shoot at this point, so they end up knocking this thing down, which is pretty crazy. So, I lose my stone horn. I kill a few hammers, but only a few. It was kind of really bad. No thunder stomps and no impact hits. It's really not that good. But we're trying to use some new, or not new, but different models to kind of spice up these battle reports and games that we play. We're not going for the competitive builds, so I hope you guys can appreciate that. Leave your comments below on that topic if you don't mind. And this didn't go as well for Dave as anticipating. His strength was great. That +1 strength in the charge is wonderful, but he had to divvy up all of his attacks, so 2 wounds went onto the BSB. The BSB has no save of any kind. Actually, no, he's got the regen this turn at least. But the Slaughtermaster and the Tyrant both take a wound. They have 4 board saves and then the regen, but you can only have one or the other. And my attacks back after failure to kill any of my heroes just kind of knocked off about 10 guys or so. So this is great. And it looks like the hammers are reforming to face the Iron Guts, and this looks like Ogre turn 4. The Iron Guts actually rally and are facing to take on the hammers. The Gorger goes ahead and makes this rear charge, so this should be fun. It's frenzied, has a handful of attacks. I think this is cool. I'll take it. So I tried to be cute in the magic phase. I ended up getting Troll Guts off onto the Iron Guts, and then the +1 toughness spell on the Bulls. I had enough dice to get all 4 of my spells off, but I got a little too crazy, and I got an irresistible force, and then I lost the rest of my paradise, and it just wasn't as crazy as it could have been, but. This is deja vu in combat from another game I played with Dave. The Saber-Tusk decides to run away from the 2 dwarves manning the cannon, giving the cannon full ability to start firing at me. It's kind of odd because the Saber-Tusk, with his fear, I mean, leadership 9 dwarves isn't a big deal, but he's got fear going for him. He actually has strength 4, which the dwarves don't have. They have strength 3, but every time I get into combat with one of these guys, it's freaking 4s to hit and then 4s to wound. I can't do anything. I got my 3 attacks, and the dwarves end up doing better, and they end up doing a wound, and then I turn and run away, which is stupid because my leadership is terrible. But on to the Gorger. The Gorger goes ahead and kills a bunch of these dwarves and overruns. I'm pretty sure I kill like 4, and then he breaks, and then I just chase them all down. So he makes it pretty far. Looks like my heroes take a few more wounds here and there, but we're down to a Rune Lord in the unit, a BSB, and then just 1 long beard. So the dwarves end up sticking. This is a dwarf turn 5. They end up passing somehow. The warriors are just chilling in the back there, but the hammers go ahead and charge the Iron Guts. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, we're both always strike last with great weapons, and my stats are terrible. Weapon skill 3 sucks. With nothing to really shoot at, the Bulls and the heroes end up killing the Rune Lord and whoever else is left, and whoever survives we chase down and we run. So it looks like we're going to fight the Dwarf Warriors now. I'm surprised I grinded through that brick. I know it's an Ogre Star, Ogre Death Star, but I, I just wasn't anticipating doing that well. So it's working out in my favor. All the Iron Guts die, which is cool. I'm able to bring a couple hammers down with me, and you can see that this unit that was at like full strength of like, I don't know, like 30 something guys around, I'm end up doing okay. Now the breath weapons, and this is a question I guess I'll throw out to you YouTubers. I think we did it right. I had the breath weapon, the ice banner or whatever the hell it is, and then he had the dwarven ring on the lore that does like the flaming attacks. Breath weapon. Breath weapons go in initiative order, but we did it in initiative order despite the fact that they had great weapons and they were always striking last, so I think that's how you do it. So we did breath weapons and then attacks, so I think that's correct. But this picture shows the dwarves, the dwarven hammers, turning around to reform to face the bulls, and there's about 13 of them left, so I grinded them down a lot. I still have some lead belchers that can shoot away at them and dwindle them down even more, and I still have an iron blaster too that could charge them and do something fun. And I decided to do just that in Ogre turn 5. The iron blaster moves up so I'm in the flank, so I can kind of shoot through those hammers and maybe peel off a rank. The lead belchers pull out of the building with their back touching the building. This way I'm now in close range, so fours to hit would be nice. And the Gorger decides to run around and head towards the Dwarf hammers. Maybe I can get a charge with them too, that'd be cool. Also, it looks like the Bulls end up charging the Dwarf Warriors up top, so let's roll with that. In Magic, I end up doing a similar thing where I had plenty of dice to get all my spells off, and the first one is Irresistible Force, which helps me because now that I've got freaking Bull Gorger, I've got the +1 strength or toughness, I forget which one that is. But either way, that'll help me in combat, but I was kind of anticipating getting all my spells off. That would have been nice, but oh well. A well-placed initial shot falls on the first hammerer, and then I roll 2 misfires for the bounce, so I don't kill a rank. I would have been able to pull off a whole rank if I rolled anything but 2 misfires, but it's got to happen once in a while. Those Iron Blasters are super accurate. Every once in a while, I need to accept that there will be 2 misfires. The Lead Belchers otherwise do some decent work of the Hammers, and we're down to the Lord, and it looks like 7 guys. The BSB dies in this combat because he has no ward save, but the Slaughtermaster and the Tyrant were able to absorb a bunch of wounds, which is great. The Firebelly takes a wound, and at this point both of the Lord choices are up to 3 wounds, which is fine because they've got 5 wounds each, and that's another thing I'm just not used to with this freaking Ogre Death Stars. You have so many wounds hiding behind ward saves, and it's great. I mean, you can't go wrong. So at this point I feel like I'm winning, but Dave decides to, in turn 6, screw up my plans, and he ends up somehow killing a Lead Belcher, and 1 of 4 is a quarter, and since my leadership sucks, kind of like the Mournfang, they decide to turn and run away, so they'll probably never rally. His Hammerers tried to make a crazy charge against the Bulls, but never got there. But into Ogre turn 6, I decide, hey, I could shoot, which probably would have been a better idea. It just saved my points and kept it safe. But you know what? We decided last turn we'll make it fun. The Gorger and the Iron Blaster both issue a charge. The Gorger false charges, unfortunately, but the Iron Blaster makes it in. If I had shot with the freaking Iron Blaster after shooting, well, Lead Belchers probably would have done enough damage to get it down to less guys, which means no lookout, sir, for the Lord. Then the Iron Blaster probably could have wiped out the whole rank and probably killed the unit outright, or even did a freaking grape shot. But either way, we went for this. I killed a few of the warriors, but that's, you know, a few of the hammers, but nothing too crazy because the Lord ends up making way and doing some damage back, but I end up sticking. And this ends up being the closing shot. We got a cannon and a stone thrower still alive, 3 bulls, 3 ogre heroes, Gorger and the Iron Blaster, and then the 5 hammers and the Lord. So the Lead Belchers decide to run off the table, and that's game. So all in all, I definitely think this was an excellent and fun game. Victory ends up going to the Ogres in my surprise after the freaking Mournfang dying. I think Dave had about 1,100 points left, about 1,000 points left, and I had either like 12 or 13, so it was more than 100 points. It's definitely a minor victory by far. I probably would have swung more in my favor if some of my stuff survived, but I don't play Ogres regularly, and even though Skaven leadership base sucks, I'm just used to being able to like roll leadership 10 rerollables whenever I want. And here I'm like, nope, leadership 7 without a reroll because my general's like a little bit further away. It ended up screwing me pretty big. But we're going to do a rematch on this game, and we'll do the same list, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure I felt like everything did what it had to. My man-eaters did what they had to. The Stonehorn just kept, you know, the hammers kind of busy. His infantry blocks did a good job. Honestly, they're scary as hell. I think when we rematch, he'll probably protect his war machines a bit better. Maybe not even play as offensively, because if he can protect his war machines and make it so I have to get to him, he'll probably shoot the crap out of me, and then there'll be nothing left for when I actually get there. So that would be my recommendation to Dave, is just sit back, use those Thunderers as shoot with them, but honestly, use them as chaff. They can redirect once things get a little bit too tight. This way, the Mournfang can run into the Thunderers and expose a flank to freaking hammers, and bam, that's it, done. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Any thoughts or ideas, you know, feel free to leave them below. And this is probably the last video I have scheduled before I get back from Greece. So I hope you guys enjoyed this scheduled content while I was gone. It was I was looking back at it about a day before leaving. I hadn't posted like 2 videos in like 2 weeks, and I got comments from Chris the Conqueror asking me, "Where's the videos?" And well, here they all are. So I hope you guys enjoyed them all, and I'll see you in the next one.